Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Screeny. Oh, Dr. Phil, let us count the ways that we love you and your wacky guests. From spoiled brats to star-crossed lovers and straight-up criminals, we've seen some quality examples of what not to do in life thanks to this coveted show. While some guests are good people that truly need and want help, others are so messed up that it just seems too late. Sometimes the outcome isn't pretty, and we're left with some jaw-dropping TV moments. Join us as we take a look at the most shocking guests on Dr. Phil. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos about your favorite movies and TV shows. Pregnant with Jesus. We've seen all sorts of wild and wonderful stuff over the course of the show's history, but Haley took the biscuit. This teenager had a plethora of issues, but the wildest of all was her belief that she was pregnant with none other than the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Though Haley did have a slightly round stomach, don't we all after a good meal? Dr. Phil arranged for the teen to have a pregnancy test and ultrasound to dispel the notions, but logic couldn't make this troubled girl see sense, and she still 100% believed that she was pregnant. Haley's issues didn't stop there either. As well as being the mother of the second coming of Christ, she also thought that she was the daughter of rap god Eminem. Of course, her parents told her that she wasn't, and so did DNA testing, but no. Haley appeared on the show later for a follow-up, but her stay in a Dr. Phil-sponsored treatment center didn't seem to do much good, as she still has just as many stories to tell. She did come clean about the pregnancy though, announcing that it was just stomach gas after all. You don't say! Lisa and Adrian. We all know that getting together with a teenager when you're in your 30s is just plain weird, even if you're over the legal age of consent. For Lisa, age was of no consequence when she fell in love with her son's 14-year-old friend, Adrian. By the following year, the Georgia mom was pregnant and the couple were married. Of course, the law is the law, as the former substitute teacher was taken to court and sent to jail for her relationship with a minor. Although both parties professed their undying love for each other, the judge wasn't having any of it. Of course he wouldn't. What? After Lisa got out of prison, the relationship resumed. The couple appeared on the show as part of the shocking love story segment, and it was clear that even the doc was thrown by their relationship. The most interesting part about the story was that Adrian's mother was actually excited for her son's new relationship, congratulating them both on the baby news, and signs the papers for them to get married without hesitation. Although the couple had 2 children, Sky and Star, it ended in disaster, as they divorced when Adrian was 24 years old. When they were interviewed post-breakup, Adrian said that getting involved with his friend's mom was a huge mistake that only brought chaos into their lives. Well, we could have told you that for nothing, pal. Bill ends the polygraph. If you go onto a show as huge as Dr. Phil and ask for a lie detector test, you better make sure that you're being 1000% honest. Especially when it comes to something as awful as inappropriately touching a 5-year-old. Bill went on the show, confident that he was going to clear his name of the incident he was accused of 2 years prior, although at the time when he was charged, he pleaded no contest. Adamant that he wanted to set the record straight and prove to his wife and family that the allegations against him were false, the audience and viewers at home were expecting him to pass with flying colors. After all, why would you put yourself in that position if you're lying? Everyone knows that even trained spies can't always pass these tests. Bill sat down via satellite link to talk to the doc alongside his wife. As Phil read out the questions that he was asked, Bill's confidence was unwavering. Unfortunately, the doc wiped the smile off his face when he declared that the results showed that Bill was being deceptive. Despite the damning evidence presented to him, Bill still maintained his innocence and vowed to never accept something that never happened. Phil asked his wife Betty how she would move on considering all of the things stacked up against Bill. but she simply said it was plenty to think about. If that were your husband, you'd do more than think about it, wouldn't you? Brandon's bra. Phyllis and Barry contacted Dr. Phil to get some help for their tearaway teenage son, Brandon. The 15-year-old would burst into fits of uncontrollable anger and speak terribly to his mom and dad. One of the most shocking things was the discovery of a secret stash of his mom's underwear in his room. According to Phyllis, she discovered that her son was stealing pieces of her lingerie from the laundry and hiding them in a hole underneath his bed. One day, she only found a couple of pieces, while another day, there were multiple items. Another time, she walked into her son's room to find Brandon sitting there with a bikini top on underneath his shirt. Every time Phyllis asked him about it, he told her to shut up. What concerned Dr. Phil the most was that some of the underwear was not Phyllis's at all, and no one could account for where it came from. As the doc pointed out, whether Brandon was just doing it out of curiosity for the opposite sex was one thing, but if he was going into neighbors' homes and stealing these items, then something disastrous could happen if the youngster got caught. It's not uncommon for homeowners to shoot intruders on site if they feel threatened, and Brandon wasn't exactly the type to quietly apologize and explain himself. PTSD possession. Do you believe in ghosts and demons? Well, Abby does. The young woman went on the show to discuss her daily, undefined episodes where her eyes would roll back and her jaw would lock so tightly, someone would have to unclench it for her. Abby's husband and family said that the episodes could sometimes happen 20 times a day, and while they only last for a few minutes at a time, it had a devastating effect on her and everyone around her. Despite the numerous amounts of other things that it could logically be, Abby believed that she was the victim of demonic possession. Of course, Phil, being the level-headed guy that he is, tried to make a good case for why demons don't respond to everyday stresses of life. Just as he was doing so, Abby was overcome by one of these episodes right up on the stage. All of these instances were PTSD related from much longer possessions, claims the mother of one, saying it was her body reacting to a time when she was both physically and intimately assaulted by these supposed demons. Although everyone wanted to help her, her family were fully on board with the otherworldly theory, at one point even telling Phil to mind his beeswax. Abby even argued that she'd had 3 exorcisms and they'd seemed to work. You know what they say, you can't help those who won't help themselves. Steven's rage. As a parent, there are times when your kids try to pull the wool over your eyes to get what they want. Unfortunately for one mom, her son Steven wasn't the type to take no for an answer, and instead got both physically and verbally abusive at the drop of a hat. Although he was old enough to know better and treat his mom with the respect that she deserved, the family hauled their cookies to the show to get some professional help. In the interview before the clip, the mom is crying as she describes the extent of the abuse she's subjected to at the hands of Steven. An audio clip of one of their fights sees him demand $200. When the distraught mother refuses, the son becomes disgustingly angry, threatening to do to his mother serious harm. The words he used are pretty dreadful, and certainly not something you'd ever even dream of saying to the woman that created you. But let's face it, good kids don't go on Dr. Phil. When the doc confronts the kid about his behavior, he seems pretty nonchalant about the whole thing, muttering and giving 1 or 2 word answers. Steven suggests that he's simply losing his mind, but no. Phil wasn't going to let him off that easy. Although his reaction to being confronted is pretty standard teen embarrassment mixed with arrogance, the things he said and did to his mother, like ripping her phone out of her hands while she was trying to call the police, were straight up horrifying. Little Tay's mom. Little Tay is a 9-year-old child rapper that rose to fame after her YouTube channel started getting some serious hits. The foul-mouthed youngster has a huge social media following, but most of these fans are just trolls that like to cuss her out. Earlier this year, Little Tay's mom appeared on Dr. Phil to discuss this crazy drink that she was trying to sell, claiming that it could cure both AIDS and cancer. The concoction looked absolutely disgusting, and Dr. Phil held it back from his face as he carefully took a sniff. Although he tried to refute her claims, Little Tay's mama was adamant the hurt juice was the wonder drug that humankind needs to survive. The whole situation is already pretty bizarre, but when an audience member tries to rush the stage, everything gets even crazier. Phil immediately stands up to block the guy from getting to his guest, although security are pretty quick to grab the gentleman and escort him out. We haven't been able to find out info on who this guy is and what he wanted to do to Little Tay's mom, but it made for pretty darn good television. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.